All right, so let's dive into something I think we can all relate to.
Yeah.
Making those New Year's resolutions stick.
Yeah, for sure.
How many times have we set those like big goals in January,
Totally.
only to find them kind of fading away by February?
Oh, yeah.
This deep dive is going to help us break that cycle.
I love it.
So we're exploring an article today by Marynês Pereira,
Okay.
and she's a neurobusiness expert with over 40 years of experience.
Ah, that's amazing.
She suggests there's a real science to setting and achieving goals.
That's awesome.
And she even has 8 books on the topic.
8 books. Okay, she clearly knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, so what's her secret weapon? Is there like some magic formula?
Well, no magic wands, unfortunately.
Oh, bummer.
But what's fascinating is that Pereira blends neuroscience,
Okay.
quantum physics, and deep positive psychology to help people and businesses thrive.
Okay, so right off the bat, that tells us success isn't just about willpower.
Right.
It's about understanding how our brains work.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's less about like forcing ourselves and more about working with our brains.
Exactly.
So tell me more about this approach.
Yeah.
What does Pereira say about like common goal-setting pitfalls?
Well, one of the biggest traps, she says, is setting vague goals.
Okay.
We want to be successful, but what does that even mean?
Yeah.
It's like saying you want to buy a helicopter.
Okay.
A great ambition.
Sure.
But where do you even start?
Okay, I see your point.
Yeah.
Vague goals feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
Almost impossible to grasp.
For sure.
So I'm guessing this is where the neuroscience comes in.
Exactly.
Okay.
Pereira advocates for the SMART method.
Okay.
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and temporal.
So SMART.
Yes.
Okay.
Think of it as mapping out your route to that helicopter
Oh.
instead of be successful.
Mm-hmm.
A SMART goal would be get promoted to senior marketing manager by the end of the year.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
It's concrete. It has a timeline. You can actually track your progress.
Exactly.
But I'm also curious about the achievable part.
Yeah.
Where does ambition fit in, if we're being so realistic?
That's where Pereira's helicopter analogy really shines.
Okay.
She emphasizes keeping your feet on the ground even while aiming high.
Okay.
So you want the helicopter.
I do.
Start by researching financing options.
Okay.
Maybe take a few flying lessons.
Sure.
Those are achievable steps aligned with your big goal.
So it's not about limiting your dreams. It's about taking grounded steps that actually move you forward.
Exactly.
That feels much less intimidating.
Yes.
But I imagine there's a psychological component too, right?
Of course.
Doesn't setting unrealistic goals actually backfire?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When goals are too lofty, we risk overwhelming our brains,
Oh.
triggering a stress response.
Okay. Yeah.
But when we break those big goals down into smaller, manageable steps, each accomplishment releases dopamine, that feel-good neurotransmitter that keeps us motivated.
So we're hacking our brain chemistry for success.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
But I also wonder, is there a downside to focusing solely on those smaller steps? Do we lose sight of the bigger picture?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it ties in nicely with Pereira's next point about finding inspiration and support.
Okay.
She emphasizes connecting with people who have achieved similar goals.
Okay.
Mentors, role models,
Yeah.
even peers on the same journey.
It's like surrounding yourself with proof that it's possible.
Exactly.
Not only can you learn from their experiences,
Yes.
but it also reinforces the belief that you too can reach that big goal, even while focusing on the smaller steps.
Precisely.
Okay.
And it's not just about learning from successes. Hearing about the challenges others faced and overcame can be incredibly valuable. Knowing they stumbled, yet persevere, can be incredibly motivating when you hit your own roadblocks.
It makes it feel less like a solo climb and more like you're part of a team effort. Speaking of teams, what does Pereira say about the practical side of achieving goals?
Okay.
Does she offer any specific strategies?
One of the most powerful tools she highlights is networking.
Okay.
It's not just about schmoozing.
Right.
It's about building genuine connections that can open doors to opportunities
Okay.
you might never have imagined.
Right.
You never know who might offer a crucial piece of advice,
Right.
introduce you to the right person,
Yeah.
or even become a collaborator on a future project.
So actively building those connections can be as important as honing your skills or working on your resume.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's about creating a support system that can propel you forward.
Awesome.
But even with the best network in the world, there's another crucial element Pereira emphasizes.
How good is that?
Taking calculated risks.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
I imagine she's not talking about reckless leaps of faith, right?
No, not at all.
It's got to be more nuanced than that.
Exactly. She uses the example of looking for a new job.
Yeah.
It's not about blindly applying to anything and everything. It's about preparing your resume, practicing for interviews, maybe even taking courses to boost your skills, all before even sending out that first application.
So it's about mitigating risk through careful planning and preparation.
Exactly.
I can see how that applies to all sorts of goals, not just career changes.
Right.
Whether it's starting a business, learning a new language, or even traveling to a new country, that groundwork is essential.
Yeah, I agree.
But what happens when things don't go as planned? We've all encountered setbacks on the road to achieving our goals.
For sure.
What does Pereira say about navigating those bumps in the road?
That's where, the idea of resilience comes in.
Okay.
Pereira emphasizes that setbacks are inevitable.
Yeah.
Everyone experiences them.
That's for sure.
It's how we respond to those challenges that truly determines our success.
So it's less about avoiding failure and more about having the tools to bounce back when it inevitably happens.
Exactly.
That feels much more empowering.
It is empowering.
Than just being afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So Pereira argues that resilience, that grit and determination to keep going, even when things get tough, is a crucial ingredient for achieving any goal.
And what's fascinating is how she ties this back to neuroscience.
Right.
Yeah, so, okay, I'm all ears. How does brain science connect to resilience?
Well, Pereira explains that repeating good habits, those actions that support our goals, actually strengthens neural connections in our brains. It's like building a mental muscle.
So the more we practice those positive habits, the stronger those pathways become.
Yes.
Making it easier to stay resilient in the face of challenges.
Exactly.
That's the idea.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Discipline and consistency.
Yeah.
Those things we often associate with sheer willpower actually create physical changes in our brains.
Wow, that's incredibly motivating.
Right.
It's not just about forcing ourselves to be disciplined. It's about literally rewiring our brains for success.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
And this rewiring extends to our mindset as well.
Okay.
Pereira emphasizes the importance of self-belief.
Okay.
Arguing that it's foundational to achieving any goal. It's about believing in your own ability to learn, grow, and overcome obstacles.
I can see how that ties into resilience.
Right.
If you believe in yourself, you're more likely to pick yourself up after a setback and keep going.
For sure.
But I imagine self-belief can be hard to maintain when you're facing constant challenges.
It can be.
How does Pereira suggest we cultivate that, unshakable confidence in ourselves?
She offers a few practical strategies.
Right.
One is the power of positive affirmations.
Okay.
It might sound simple,
Yeah.
but consistently reminding yourself of your strengths and capabilities can actually reprogram your subconscious mind to believe in your potential.
So it's about intentionally shifting our internal dialogue to focus on the positive, rather than letting those self-doubts take over.
Exactly.
Okay.
Another powerful technique Pereira highlights is visualization.
Okay.
Imagine yourself achieving your goal, experiencing the emotions and sensations associated with that success.
Isn't that what athletes do before a big competition?
Yes.
They mentally rehearse the perfect performance to prime their minds and bodies for success.
That's a great example.
Okay.
By vividly imagining ourselves achieving our goals, we create a powerful mental blueprint that guides our actions and strengthens our belief in our ability to succeed.
Okay.
And just like with those positive affirmations, consistent visualization can rewire our brains to expect success.
It sounds like we're almost tricking our brains into believing we can achieve anything.
In a way, yes.
But I'm also wondering about the flip side of that.
Okay.
What about the fear of failure? Doesn't that play a role in our ability to achieve our goals?
Absolutely. Pereira acknowledges that fear can be a powerful motivator.
Okay.
But it can also be paralyzing as we let it take over.
Right.
She suggests reframing our perception of failure.
Okay.
Instead of seeing it as a setback,
Uh-huh.
view it as a valuable learning opportunity.
So it's about shifting our perspective from I failed to what can I learn from this experience?
Oh, exactly.
I can see how that mindset shift could make a huge difference in our ability to persevere.
It can.
But even with the best mindset and a toolbox of strategies, I imagine there are times when staying motivated can be a real struggle.
For sure.
What has Pereira to say about maintaining that momentum, especially when working towards long-term goals?
She emphasizes the importance of celebrating those small wins along the way.
Okay.
Often we get so focused on the end goal that we forget to acknowledge the progress we've already made.
You're so right. It's like we're constantly looking ahead instead of taking the time to appreciate how far we've come. How does Pereira suggest we incorporate those celebrations into our goal-setting process?
She encourages us to break down those big goals into smaller milestones.
Okay.
And then reward ourselves when we achieve them.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be anything grand.
Right.
It could be a relaxing evening,
Sure.
a special treat,
Okay.
or simply taking a moment to acknowledge your accomplishment
Uh-huh.
and savor the feeling of progress.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like giving yourself a little dopamine boost to keep that motivation engine running.
Exactly.
But even with all these incredible strategies, I imagine there are times when we hit a wall.
Yeah.
Those moments when we feel stuck or uncertain about how to move forward.
Uh-huh.
Does Pereira offer any guidance for navigating those challenging phases?
This is where she circles back to the importance of connection and support.
Okay.
She reminds us that we don't have to go it alone.
Right.
Reaching out to a mentor,
Okay.
coach, or even a supportive friend
Yeah.
can provide a fresh perspective,
Uh-huh.
valuable insights, and a much-needed boost of encouragement.
It's like having a cheerleader in your corner, reminding you of your strengths and helping you see the path forward when you can't quite see it yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
And sometimes that outside perspective is all it takes to reignite our motivation and get us back on track.
It sounds like Pereira's approach to goal setting is a beautiful blend of science-backed strategies and the power of human connection.
I think so too.
But I'm also curious about the bigger picture here.
Okay.
Does she talk about the ultimate purpose of achieving these goals? Is it simply about reaching that desired outcome, or is there something more profound at play?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it leads us to what I find to be one of the most insightful aspects of Pereira's work.
Okay.
The idea that goal setting isn't just about the destination. It's about the journey of growth and self-discovery along the way.
So it's not just about getting that promotion or buying that dream house.
Right.
It's about who we become in the process of pursuing those goals.
Exactly. Pereira argues that by setting challenging goals and working towards them with intention, we unlock hidden potential, develop resilience, and cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves.
That's a beautiful way to think about it.
It is.
It's not just about checking things off a list.
Right.
It's about evolving into the best version of ourselves.
Precisely.
Okay.
And that journey of self-discovery, she argues, is ultimately what makes achieving our goals so fulfilling.
Okay.
It's not just about the outcome. It's about the person we become along the way.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Marynês Pereira's insights on achieving our goals, what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Sure.
What are the essential nuggets of wisdom they can apply to their own lives?
I think some of the biggest takeaways are definitely around understanding those SMART goals, being specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Yeah, I love that.
And also like remembering not to get too caught up in like those big, huge dreams.
Right.
Like break those things down.
Totally. Yeah, so easy to get overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
And then just like give up before you even really start.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where celebrating those small wins comes in.
Yes.
Like acknowledge the progress.
Yeah.
And like give yourself those little dopamine boosts.
It's like a little reward for your brain.
Exactly.
Yeah, for staying on track.
Totally.
I think that idea of self-belief was really powerful too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like really believing in yourself and your ability to learn and grow.
Yeah, it's like the foundation for achieving anything.
And remembering that it's something you can build and work on and cultivate.
Absolutely, which I love that.
Like through positive affirmations, visualizations.
Exactly.
All those great things.
It's like we can train our brains to believe it ourselves.
For sure we can.
And I love that connection too with discipline and neuroscience.
Yes.
Like our actions really do create physical changes in our brains.
They really do.
Which is so cool. So amazing.
Yeah, so it's not just about like forcing ourselves to be disciplined.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that consistency really pays off.
It does.
Yeah, and then finally, that piece about connection and support.
Yeah.
We really don't have to do this alone.
We don't.
Like having those mentors or coaches or even just like friends and family to cheer us on and offer guidance can make such a huge difference.
It really can.
Yeah. It's like having that external support system.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's so key.
It's like having a team for your goals.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a question to think about.
Okay, I love that.
How can you incorporate the concept of cultivating a growth mindset into your own goal-setting process for the year ahead?
Such a great question.
Yeah, like how can you embrace challenges as opportunities for growth and learning?
Yeah.
And see setbacks as those valuable stepping stones on your path to success.
That's a great way to frame it.
Yeah. So if you want to learn more about these ideas and all the amazing insights from Marynês Pereira, definitely check out her work.
8 books.
Yeah, she have 8 books on this topic.
So much wisdom.
It's a treasure trove of wisdom and science-backed strategies.
For sure.
So until our next deep dive, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving towards those amazing goals.
I love it.
These are the nights and never the time. My father told me